Hey everyone, welcome back to Fluent Chat, the show where we turn English practice into a real conversation. I'm Jake.
And I'm Nina. Today, we are diving into a topic that's close to my heart, and probably yours too, hobbies. Whether you play guitar, collect stamps, or binge watch true crime documentaries, hobbies are a goldmine for building your English fluency.
Absolutely, Nina. I always say, talking about your hobbies is like the secret shortcut to sounding natural in a new language. It's a topic everyone has something to say about, and it's way more fun than the pen is on the table.
Totally. Jake, let's kick it off. What's your number one hobby? And how did you start talking about it in English?
Oh, it's got to be playing the guitar. Back when I was learning Spanish, I realized I could chat for hours about music, but I'd freeze up when someone asked about my weekend plans. So, I started learning how to talk about my guitar routines, favorite bands, even how to describe the feeling of learning a tough song. Suddenly, conversations flowed way easier.
That's so true. I remember my first time describing salsa dancing in French. I ended up saying, I shake my feet very much, which got some weird looks, but it was a start. Why do you think hobbies make language learning less intimidating?
Because hobbies are personal and passionate. When you care about what you're saying, you naturally want to express yourself. Plus, you're using real-life vocabulary. Imagine you love baking. You don't just learn bread and cake. You learn whisk, fold, sift, and those words stick because you actually use them.
Love that. Okay, let's help our listeners out. If someone's learning English and they're into, say, gardening, what's a simple way to start talking about it?
Great question. Start with the basics. I like gardening. Or, my favorite hobby is gardening. Then add details. I grow tomatoes and herbs on my balcony. You can even share a fun fact. Did you know basil grows faster if you pinch the leaves? The more detail, the better the practice.
So you're saying, instead of just, I garden, go for, I love planting tomatoes because they taste sweeter when you grow them yourself. That's way more interesting. And it opens the door for follow-up questions.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Even saying, I water my plants every morning, teaches you daily routine words. It's all about layering on details as you get more confident.
Okay, let's get creative. How about someone whose hobby is video games? What are some cool ways to talk about that in English?
Oh, that's a fun one. You could say, I play video games to relax after work. Or get more specific. I love strategy games because they challenge my brain. If you want to make it a conversation, try. Have you ever played cooperative games with friends? It's a blast.
And you can totally bring in expressions. Like, I'm hooked on this new game. Or, I pulled an all-nighter trying to beat the final boss. Those little phrases make you sound way more natural.
Yep, and it invites other people to join in. Chances are someone else will say, oh, I play that game too. Suddenly, you're chatting away in English about your favorite hobby.
Okay, audience, your turn. What's your hobby? Tell us in the comments. And try to add one detail, like where or how you do it.
Great idea. And while you're at it, see if you can teach us a word from your hobby that most people might not know. Like, if you knit, maybe pearl stitch, or if you skateboard, ollie. We love learning with you.
Jake, do you have any stories of language learning fails when talking about hobbies? Because I've got a classic one.
Oh, do I ever. When I was in Germany, I tried to say, I'm really into photography, but I mixed up the word and basically told a whole group, I'm obsessed with photocopying. They looked at me like I was the office printer. Never lived that one down.
That's amazing. My big fail was telling someone, I like to cook my friends, instead of, I like to cook for my friends. Apparently, I sounded like a very dangerous dinner host.
Haha, that's a classic. That's why practicing these hobby conversations is so important. You don't want to accidentally become a serial chef.
Speaking of practice, what are some easy conversation starters about hobbies that our listeners can use right now?
Here are a few. What do you like to do in your free time? Do you have any hobbies? How did you get into that? And if you want to keep it going, what do you enjoy most about it? Or have you learned anything surprising from your hobby?
Those are gold. And if you're shy, you can start by talking about yourself. I'm learning to paint. Or, recently, I started hiking on weekends. It's a great way to invite others to share too.
Absolutely. And don't worry about making mistakes. Native speakers make them all the time, especially when they're excited about their hobbies.
So true. Okay, Jake, let's dive deeper. How can talking about hobbies help with grammar, not just vocabulary?
Ah, good one. Hobbies are the perfect way to practice verb tenses. For example, I started playing guitar 2 years ago. Uses the past. I practice every day is present. I'm going to join a band next year is future. You get to practice all these naturally, without thinking about grammar rules.
Oh, I love that. And you can use the present perfect too. I've been hiking since I moved to this city. It's so much less scary when you're just telling your story.
Exactly. And the more you talk about your hobby, the more you use words like want to, like to, try to, all those verbs that link to actions. It's practical and real.
Okay, time for an audience question. We've got a message from Lena in Brazil. She writes, I love painting, but I always freeze when someone asks me about it in English. How can I get more confident?
Love this question, Lena. My advice. Write down a few sentences about your hobby, why you love it, how you started, what you're working on now. Practice saying them out loud. Maybe even record yourself. The more you repeat, the more natural it feels.
And don't forget, it's okay to be simple. You can say, I paint because it relaxes me, or I enjoy using watercolors. As you get comfortable, add more. And remember, people are interested in your passion, not your grammar.
So true. And if you get stuck, ask questions back. Do you like painting? Or what's your favorite color? Turning the spotlight around keeps the conversation going.
Speaking of getting stuck, what's a tip for when you can't remember a word related to your hobby?
Great one. Try to describe it using what you know. For example, if you forget easel, say, the stand where I put my canvas. People will understand, and you'll learn the word next time.
I do that all the time. It keeps the conversation moving, and sometimes you even teach someone a new way to say something.
Exactly. The key is not to freeze, just keep talking.
Okay, let's play a quick game. I'll name a hobby, and you tell me one interesting way to talk about it in English. Ready?
Rock climbing makes me feel fearless. There's nothing like reaching the top after a tough climb. I love birdwatching because it's peaceful, and I get excited every time I spot a rare bird. I enjoy cooking because I can experiment with flavors. Last week, I tried making homemade pasta for the first time.
Awesome. Listeners, try this at home. Pick your hobby and write one interesting sentence about why you love it.
And share it with us. We'll read some on the next episode.
Jake, let's get into some less common hobbies. How about geocaching? Can you explain it in a way a beginner English learner would understand?
Sure. Geocaching is like a treasure hunt using GPS. People hide small containers, called caches, and you use an app to find them. It's a fun way to explore new places and feel like a real-life detective.
That's so cool. And you just used some great vocabulary. Treasure hunt, GPS, containers. Explaining your hobby in simple words is great practice.
Exactly. And if you can teach someone about your hobby, you know you're making progress.
I've always wanted to try calligraphy. How would you talk about that in English?
You could say, I'm learning calligraphy because I love making beautiful letters. It's relaxing and it helps me focus. You might add, I practice with different pens and inks.
I'm inspired. Okay, let's touch on group hobbies. What's a good way to describe being part of a club or team?
Try. I'm in a chess club. We meet every Friday to play matches and learn new strategies. Or, I joined a running group. It's more fun to exercise with friends.
I love that. And you can use phrases like, we organize events, or we support each other. Hobbies are a great way to make friends, right?
Absolutely. In fact, joining a club is one of the best ways to practice English in real life. You learn language and make connections.
So true. Speaking of connections, have you ever made a friend just because you shared a hobby, even though you didn't speak the same language well at first?
Oh, definitely. When I moved to Canada, I joined a local soccer team. My English wasn't perfect, but kicking the ball and cheering together broke the ice. We'd laugh at my accent sometimes, but they always helped me find the right words.
That's awesome. I once joined a pottery class in Italy. I barely spoke Italian, but everyone was so patient. We bonded over making lopsided bowls and shared lots of laughs.
See, hobbies are the universal language. Even if you mix up a word or two, the passion comes through.
Let's help our listeners grow their vocabulary. What are some useful phrases for talking about starting a new hobby?
Here are a few. I've just picked up, as in, I've just picked up photography. Or, I'm getting into I'm getting into yoga. And, I decided to try, as in, I decided to try baking bread.
Those are supernatural. And if you want to ask about someone else's hobby, you can say, how did you get into that? Or, what made you start?
Exactly. These little questions make conversations feel friendly and genuine.
Okay, Jake, let's get a little playful. What's the weirdest hobby you've ever heard of? And how would you explain it in English?
Okay, this is a real one. Extreme ironing. It's exactly what it sounds like. People take an ironing board to crazy places, like the top of a mountain, and iron their clothes. You could say, some people love extreme ironing. They look for adventure and clean shirts at the same time.
That is wild. I think I'd rather stick to regular ironing, or maybe not iron at all.
Same here. I'm more into extreme napping. Find the comfiest couch and done.
That's my kind of sport. Listeners, what's the strangest hobby you know? Tell us in English. We want to hear your stories.
And remember, sharing your hobby, even if it's quirky, shows your personality and helps you connect with people.
Let's circle back to fluency. How does talking about hobbies help you sound more natural, not just correct?
Great question. When you talk about something you love, you use real-life expressions, emotions, and details. You learn to react, like saying, that sounds amazing, or I've always wanted to try that. It's about being part of the conversation, not just saying perfect sentences.
Yes. And you pick up the music of English, intonation, rhythm, all that good stuff. Because when you're excited, your voice changes. And that's what makes you sound fluent.
Exactly. Fluency isn't just grammar. It's how you tell your story.
Speaking of stories, let's share some quick ones. Jake, tell us about a time your hobby led to an unexpected adventure.
Sure. Years ago, I was traveling in Spain and brought my guitar. I ended up jamming with locals in a tiny bar. My Spanish wasn't great, but music did the talking. By the end of the night, I had new friends and a list of new songs to learn in both languages.
That's amazing. I once joined a book club when I moved to London. At first, I was nervous about discussing books in English, but everyone was so friendly. We ended up spending more time talking about life than literature, and I improved my English without even realizing it.
See, hobbies open doors in the most unexpected ways.
Okay, time for another audience question. This one is from Sam in Korea. How can I practice talking about my hobby if no one around me shares it?
Great question, Sam. You can join online forums or social media groups in English related to your hobby. Even commenting on YouTube videos or writing short posts about your progress helps. Or find a language partner who wants to learn about your hobby in exchange for teaching you about theirs.
That's a great idea. And you can even record yourself talking about your hobby. Then listen and see where you can improve. Sometimes, just practicing out loud makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to teach someone about your hobby. Even if they're not interested, explaining things is great practice.
Okay, let's get silly for a second. Jake, can you make up a hobby right now and describe it like it's totally normal?
Sure. Let's see. I'm a championship-level cloud shaper. On weekends, I lie in the park and use my mind to turn clouds into animals. Last week, I made a dragon and a sandwich. It's very competitive.
Oh, that's impressive. I think I'd be a professional leaf listener, just sitting under trees, hearing what the leaves have to say. They're very wise, you know.
See, even with made-up hobbies, you can practice new vocabulary and have fun with the language.
Exactly. Listeners, try making up your own hobby in English. It's a great way to get creative and learn new words.
Speaking of creativity, let's give our listeners some advanced tips for taking hobby conversations to the next level. If you're feeling confident, share a story about a challenge you faced in your hobby. I almost gave up learning the piano because it was so hard to coordinate both hands. But now I can play my favorite song or talk about a goal. I want to run a marathon next year. These add depth to your conversations.
And you can compare hobbies. I used to play basketball, but now I prefer yoga because it's more relaxing, or express opinions. Some people think knitting is boring, but I find it really creative.
Love that. And don't forget, you can use idioms or expressions like, "It's not my cup of tea," or "I'm a big fan of."
Those little phrases make you sound like a native speaker.
Exactly. And if you want to connect even more, ask for recommendations. Do you know any good places to hike around here? Or can you suggest a fun hobby to try?
Let's do a quick fire round. I'll say a situation, and you say a natural way to talk about your hobby in it. Ready?
Hey, I'm Jake. I love playing the guitar. Do you play any instruments? On weekends, I unwind by hiking. It helps me recharge for Monday. Hi everyone. I've just started baking sourdough bread. Any tips for a beginner?
Perfect. That's how you make hobby talk work in any situation.
Exactly. It's all about finding those natural openings to share your interests.
Okay, Jake, it's time for our language fail of the week. Want to share another one?
Oh, here's a good one. I once tried to say, I love fishing, but mixed up the word and said, I love finishing. The person thought I was obsessed with completing things, like a to-do list champion.
That's great. Mine was telling someone, I love to knit sweaters for my cats. But I accidentally said, I love to knit sweaters for my cats. I think they imagine me as Cruella de Vil for felines.
Hobbies can be dangerous territory for language fails, but hey, it makes learning memorable.
Totally. Okay, let's wrap things up with some key takeaway tips for our listeners who want to talk about their hobbies in English.
Tip 1. Start simple, but add details as you get more confident. Don't just say what your hobby is. Explain why you love it or how you do it.
Tip 2. Practice real conversations. Write out answers to common questions. Record yourself, or join online groups.
Tip 3. Don't let mistakes stop you. If you forget a word, describe it